Is there an area of your life where perhaps you achieved something against all the odds? Like everything was up against you, and yet you achieved the impossible. And perhaps is there another area in your life where, you really wanted something, and yet something came in the way, an obstacle, something prevented you from achieving what it is that you wanted to achieve? What made the difference? What allowed you to get a result when it was almost impossible to get a result? And what prevented you from following through in an area that you really wanted to follow through in? So what's up, everyone? My name is Muneer, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Unconscious Communication Secrets. And today I'm going to be talking to you about your why and your mountain of motivation. So there we go. I'm back in focus. All right. So today we're talking about your why and your mountain of motivation. And this is really the secret to getting results. So first of all, let me share with you a bit of an analogy. Sometimes, let's say if you were baking a cake, and I'm just talking about a standard cake, not your gluten-free or like replacing random ingredients. I'm just talking about a standard cake. If you were baking a standard cake, if you were missing one ingredient, the flour, your cake wouldn't turn out as a cake, right? And that's the same with getting results. There's one ingredient without which you're not going to get the result that you want. And also, if you notice in this example over here, where I show a cake, when you don't have enough flour, the cake or the cookie will not turn out the way that you want it to. And it's the same with this one ingredient and the results in your life. Without it, you're not going to get the right kind of results. And that's really your why, your motivation, your reason for doing something. And I know it sounds very simple, but I'm going to break it down at another level so that you really get a result on this versus just knowing it, right? But first of all, I want to explain that this is really the key between success and failure. So first of all, let me tell you a very quick story. Do you like theme parks? Now, I live in Abu Dhabi, and over here we have Warner Brothers World. And I have my daughter, she's 5 years old now, but at the time she was about 3 when I first took her to go to the park. And what happened is when I took her to the park, if you can imagine Warner Brothers, where kind of, it's like just this great, amazing theme park, so many different rides everywhere. And at one place, there's like the Batman ride. Okay, there's a Batman ride over here, and I'm walking by, and it's like a T-junction, so I can go straight and I can turn left. And I'm holding my daughter's hand. I'm holding Sarah's hand as we walk. And what happens is my phone rings. And so I pick up my phone and I say, "Hi, listen, I'm at the theme park. I can't really talk right now. Can I give you a shout in a bit?" "Okay, I'll call you back in a bit. Thanks, bye." And I put down my phone. Now, who can guess what happened? Right? I had my daughter. I did not have her anymore. Now, I'm at the T-junction, so I can basically go right and go this way. I can go left to my left and go there, or I can go straight and go and look for her. And I'm like, I have no idea where she's gone. So first I go this way and I go and look for her. I'm like, "Sarah, Sarah, Sarah." I can't find her. I come back to the start. I go forward. I go, "Sarah, Sarah, Sarah." I can't find her. I come back. I go this way. I go, "Sarah, Sarah, Sarah." I can't find her. I come back. Now, let me ask you something. I know this is a very simple question, and you probably instinctively know the answer. However, do you think I gave up? And I'm guessing I hope you believe the best in me, and you know that I probably didn't. First, like, because if I had, I probably wouldn't. If I had given up and just said, you know what, we've had a good run, she's fine, I would have come home to my wife, and basically I would no longer be here. That's it, like, gone. that's me dead. Right? But like, you instinctively know that I did not give up. But yet, how many people in life, they say, you know what, I tried everything. I went this way, I went that way, I went straight. I didn't get a result, so you know what, I tried everything. No. I went again, and I went this way, I went this way, I went this way, I get it again and again and again. And I tried it multiple times. And did I give up? I think we established that the answer was no, otherwise I would be dead. No, and I did not want to be dead. So I kept going and going. Now, at the time, I also shouted at the top of my lungs. So I'm there saying, Sarah, Sarah. And I come back and I go this way. I'm like, Sarah, Sarah. And I come back and I go this way and I say, Sarah, Sarah. And I come back and I'm shouting. Did I care what people thought? At that point in time, I did not care what people thought. And I kept going. And I tell you, it was one of the most stressful times because I'd lost her for over 20 minutes. That's a long time when you are like, oh my God, what has happened to my daughter? Like, what has happened? 20 minutes. And I was shouting and doing whatever I found a way. And then finally I found her. Luckily, we found a way, and found her. But here's the question for you. Imagine it was a 1 dirham coin, or if it's, I don't know, if you're in the UK, it's 50 pence or 50 cents in the US or wherever you're from, just a very nominal amount, like a tiny, like a coin's worth, right? Imagine I'd lost a coin, right? Do you think I would have gone back and forth and etc.? No. What kept me going was it was so important to me. Like, my daughter was so important to me. The outcome was more important than any of the excuses, any of the obstacles that I could have given myself. And so when we talk about how can you get results in an area of your life, whether it's unconscious communication, whether it's whatever area that you want to improve in, whether it's coaching, or whether it's learning a new skill, or whether it's achieving something impossible, how do you get it? By making sure it's more important than any of the obstacles that come in your way. It's got to be more, for me in that moment, finding my daughter was more important than what people would think. Now, have I ever stopped because I was like, oh, but what will people think? Yes, I'm human. But when in that moment, this was more important than anything else at all, right? If my boss was calling and, would I have been, oh my God, I have to answer this and, I have to put everything else on hold? No, it didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. And so this is the concept of when your why is so important. Okay? When your why is high, your how will just clarify. All right? So, and this is where it comes down to you getting results. And this video today is about how do we ensure that you are going to get results in whatever area of life that you really want to. But in this case, we're talking about unconscious communication. How are you going to get results? And that's by ensuring your why is super high. Now, you've seen this in life, right? In your own lives, in many of our lives, we'll see this, because if you have kids, you know this. Anything to do with your kids, like if your kid was in any sort of danger, boom, you drop everything, you make it happen. like if you have children at, like, if you were at school or university and it's like, oh my god, there is no way that I'm gonna pass, but you know that if you don't pass, that that you are either gonna be sent home, or you are gonna be like, you are gonna leave all your friends behind, and so much pain arose, and you will, or your parents at one point in time when you were younger, like if you didn't pass, you were gonna be in so much trouble. So you were like, you know what, I've got to make this happen. I shouldn't be passing, but I have to make it happen, right? And that's when you've done it. So many of us have done it in the past. We all know this to a certain degree. Like sometimes someone says, your boss comes and says, you've got to make this happen, and you're like, but how? I don't have the time. And they're like, find a way, make a way, or make your way home. And you're like, oh, okay, I'd better find a way. And you surprise yourself, you make it happen. We've all done this. Or the government mandates something and you have to make it happen, right? Like, you've found ways where you've made it happen. So this, we all kind of know this to a certain degree. We all know this instinctively. However, today I'm going to be talking about how can you build up your why? How can you make your why extra high? So first of all, and if you've heard of, if you've done any of Tony Robbins' programs, or you've heard Tony Robbins speaks, he always talks about the reason we do anything is one of two things: to avoid pain or to gain pleasure, right? If you're a fan of Tony Robbins, he's very famous for teaching this, right? We all do things for one of two things: to gain pleasure or to avoid pain. So if we're trying to gain pleasure or avoid pain, how does that really translate? So I want to share this with you, right? We all want things in our lives, right? And it's either to gain pleasure or avoid pain. Like that's what's clear. That's why we want something. So we all look at, oh yeah, you know what? I want that thing. I want this, but yeah, because it will give me some pleasure or it will allow me to avoid pain. Think of anything in your life and you'll find, like, even if it's something like, oh, you know what? But Muneer, you're saying anything in my life. Like, why am I always eating cake? Well, you're eating cake because in the moment, the reality of the pleasure of the moment is more clear to you, and you want to avoid the pain of denying yourself. And by the way, the flip side is also true. When someone is very, very healthy and they don't eat cake at all, they are avoiding the pain of the long term of looking at themselves in the mirror, and they're imagining the pleasure long term as well. So we all do things to avoid pain and pleasure. Now, here's the thing. When we want, let's say, this stack, the orange, the pleasure and pain, that's our goal. That's the thing. That's the reason we want something, right? So we can see it, and so we're very motivated because, hey, you know what? I can see this thing and it's clear to me. And so when we first see a goal, someone identifies and they say, you know what? Yeah, I really want a big house. Okay, great. Yeah, I'd want a big house, because if I had a big house, then I would have the pleasure of having a lot of space, and I'd avoid the pain of being all cluttered and whatever it is, right? So one pleasure, one pain. We know what it is. But then what happens is someone puts a little obstacle in the way and they say, but you're gonna have to work really hard for it. And then we just see this obstacle. And the only thing that we can see is the obstacle, because the obstacle is bigger than our goal. Let me repeat that. The obstacle is bigger than our goal. And when the obstacle is bigger than our goal, what happens is we lose sight of our goal. And so we give up on it, because it's our goal, our thing that we want is not as big as the obstacle. And so when it comes to the areas in our lives where we have wanted to achieve things, but stuff came in the way. That stuff that came in the way were the small obstacles. And the small obstacles stopped us because they were bigger than our why. But the areas where you've gotten results despite everything that they put in your way was because your why was higher. So what do? I want to share with you this little exercise that I do, and I want you to imagine a mountain for a moment, okay? No matter what happens, if you're on a street and you see there's a big mountain in the background, in the distance, no matter if there's a car in front of you, you can still see the mountain. If there's a house there, you can see the mountain. If there's a wall over there, if there's a someone runs on top of a car and stands on top of the car and waves, you can still see the mountain. The mountain is bigger than whatever they put in your way. And because the mountain is bigger than whatever is put in your way, you can find your way around the obstacles. And so we want to make sure that our why is big so that we can navigate our way around obstacles if they come up. We have to brush them away. So just like when I'd lost my daughter, I'd gone this way, I'd gone this way. Like, that's already an obstacle, but I'm brushing it away because like none of that matters. I have to get my goal. I have to get to my outcome. So no matter what happens, no matter the obstacle, you can still see the mountains. So how do we build our why? Like I said, our why is made up of two things: our want to avoid pain and our desire to gain pleasure. So what we do is I created this sheet, and you just say, what are the different pains that I would avoid if I achieved my goal, right? So what is your goal? Let's say, for example, I want to make an income helping people and doing what I love, right? What are the pains that I want to avoid? I refuse to be a slave to a job that doesn't appreciate me. I have refused to be victim to the insecurity of a job. I refuse to be unappreciated anymore. I refuse to be this. I just list out like a bunch of different things. And then what are the pleasures that I want to achieve? Like, I want to create an impact. This is a pleasure. This is what else? Is like, I want my children's children to be proud of me. I want to have saved a couple of people's lives by creating some content that creates an impact. I want to be able to set a very positive example for my children. I want to be able to So I list out all the pleasures, all the things that I want, all the things that I desire. And so I build my motivation. I list all the pleasurable things that my goal will help me to achieve. I list all the painful things that I will avoid. By the way, so many of you might have seen some of my earlier stuff. When I was growing up, I was like very awkward. I was bullied. My motivation happened naturally. Think of it this, right? There's some people in their lives, they are unable to create the change. Let's say they smoke for a long time, or they're overweight for so long in their lives. And then one day something happens, something snaps, and they go, never again. And what happened is, in that moment, they listed out, or they had so much pain with something that they decided never again. And that's what happened. So this happened naturally to me when I was growing up, and I was bullied. And one day, like, I came home, I was crying, and I just said, never again. I don't care what's going to happen, but I'm never going to be bullied again. I'm never going to be made fun of. I'm never going to allow anybody to talk about me behind my back and me not realize it. I am never going to be able to stand on the sidelines while people just talk about me and and I'm just in my head I was listing this out. I was listing out all the pains that I wanted to avoid. So this is why this is powerful. You don't realize it, but the moments that people create massive change are the moments that people actually do this at an unconscious level. Now, we don't have to wait for a moment of crazy pain. Let's create that clarity right now by using this exercise. All right, so that's why we're doing this exercise, so that you don't need to go through that crazy amount of pain. All right, so let's move on. Hi Gardenia, thank you. Great to see you. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. All right, cool. So let's talk about so what happens when you go here. So what happens if you list out all the pleasurable things that you'll achieve by following through, and all the painful things that you'll avoid if you that you won't experience by doing this, right? Then what happens is you get a long list of reasons that stack up, right? This is why it's important. Your why becomes high, right? Your why, your reasons become so large. Your goal, this is your why. This is how your why becomes high. And then it doesn't matter if your obstacles are bigger. It doesn't matter if you have 3 obstacles. It doesn't matter if people put 3 obstacles on top of each other, or 2 obstacles, or 1, or like 1 big one, or whatever. What happens is you will always see your vision, your why, and so you find your way around the obstacles that come up, right? And I also want to point this out, right? Like if you look at this stack, you'll see pleasure 1 and pleasure 2, they're different sizes. And that's the reality. When we list out our reasons, some reasons have great big juice for us, and some are just like, yeah, that'd be nice to have. Like when you start to list a whole bunch of these things out, you'll find that some reasons are really going to be very, very powerful for you. But you got to take the time to just sit and think, what could the reasons be? And when you ask that question, you empower your mind to come up with reasons, and then you just start writing. And one of those reasons, or 3 of those reasons, are going to be like so powerful. Some are going to be very like reasonably powerful. Some are going to be, yeah, cool, you know, that'd be nice to have. But the more that you have, the bigger your structure is going to be. And that's and then no matter what obstacles are put in your way, you still see the vision of your goal. And that's why I call this exercise the mountain of motivation. The mountain of motivation. And the mountain of motivation, it's called that exercise because you want to build up your mountain so that it rises above any obstacle that could potentially come up. All right? Now, you might be thinking, what's this got to do with unconscious communication? At the end of the day, for you to get results in unconscious communication, I care about giving people results. I care about delivering for you. And I care about you actually achieving the result. And the way that you're going to achieve the result is by getting clear on this first, getting clear on your why. And when you have your why, your how becomes super easy. All right? So when your why is high, your how will clarify. All right? So, and that's why I come back to this slide. This is the key between success and failure. You know, I've seen some very, very talented people that have given up on stuff that should be very easy for them in life. And the only reasons they give up is because it wasn't that important to them. I want you to get a result when it comes to unconscious communication. You have invested your time to just, watch this whole training. I want you to get a result. So And I want you to apply this to any area of your life, any area that you want to improve in or you want to get a result in. Do this and you will find that things just begin to work out. All right. So, all right, cool. So, this is the phrase of the day. When your why is high, your how will clarify. When your why is high, your how will clarify. Cool. All right, so thank you guys very much for tuning in. I truly appreciate you. Do the exercise and I will see you on the next video real soon. Peace out. I appreciate you all and I'll see you on another video real soon. Bye now.